Let's take you to the Ashanti region now, where flooding remains one of the major issues bothering inhabitants in many areas. Places such as Abuabo Palele, Sawaba New Site, Asabi Junction, and many others have been experiencing worsening situations that have led to loss of lives and properties, as many residents in flood-prone areas are fleeing their respective homes due to worsening situation. Authorities at the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly have blamed the recurring issue on political interference, which has hindered them from strictly enforcing laws. Fatih Amin Ibrahim, our Ashanti regional correspondent, has more in the following report.
In the Ashanti region, flooding is common in areas such as Abuabo, Sawaba New Site, Sokoban, Kokoben, among others. There have been many instances where several lives have been lost and properties destroyed due to floods. Muntala Chakapama is a resident of Abuabo Palele. He laments how the recurring flooding situation affects their livelihood, as many of the residents here have lived in fear since the rainy season has set in.
All these houses by my side are always been flooded. So all the people who are renting people there, all of them they left the houses, except few people. As at now, it's time for rainy season, because when this time comes, we are not happy. We are not happy to be that we don't have any place to move. That's why we still here. Those people who have left and leave us alone.
Muntala Chakapama believes that the annual desilting of the Abuabo Palele will help reduce the impact of the situation in his area.
What we want, the masses within the Palele, we want the government each and every year before the rainy season, he must to come and desilt, or our MC to favor us each and every year. Before the rainy season, they have to come and desilt. Then it could be able to make it up for our life to be better.
While affected flood victims are overwhelmed by the situation and are calling on authorities to address it, researchers have predicted that the situation will get much worse because of the change in weather patterns. Andreas Fink is a professor of meteorology at Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany, who also serves as the coordinator of the Flurry Flood Project, a research project that partnered with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology research students.
I'm talking about the flood risk. So here in Kumasi, we are dealing with so-called urban flooding. So intense rainfall, several hours, that then flood the creeks and endanger the people living along these creeks here in Kumasi. We have seen that before. We are experiencing increased flood risk here at Kumasi already now. Climate change is ongoing. And with our research, we want to quantify actually which houses are going to be flooded at an extreme event that can occur anytime in the next rainy seasons.
The research recommended that authorities should take measures to ensure that people living in flood-prone areas are given alternative places to relocate to as authorities tackle the issue.
So what we can do at the moment is assess the likelihood of future flood altitudes. How many peoples are affected actually, depend on the urban planning here. So of course there are informal settlements in flood-prone areas here in Kumasi, and we need to convince the city planners to make available areas for those people to live where they are not so much affected of future floods. So there is a human component to it. The human component to it needs to involve city planners and stakeholders. We just provide the scientific basis for their decisions.
For authorities at the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, KMA, they have noted that the major challenge hindering them from effectively enforcing laws to reduce the recurring flooding situations is political interference. Dr. Francisca Atabuatim is the Fiscal Planning Officer at KMA.
one of the causal factors had to do with the fact that we have buildings in waterways, in waterlogged areas, and those areas are supposed to be serving as reservoirs when there is a heavy downpour. So as part of the policies and the acts we work with, like the LUSPA Act, like the Land Act, we have the mandate to demolish these activities. But of course, we can't lose sight of the fact that there are political influences. But of course, if I presume you've heard that we have the Green Day, we have the Planting of Tree Day, and then as part of the activities of fiscal planning, we are also encouraging greeneries even in our residential houses. And so we've included that policy as part of our permitting process, such that even if someone comes and applies for permits, even for mere residential structure, we are encouraging that in the designs, we see that about 30% of the land has been dedicated for greenery, so that in our various homes, we have these reservoirs around to absorb some of these waters when there are high rainfalls. But the challenge really has to do with the demolition. We have a lot of structures sitting in waterlogged areas, and then when we are about to demolish, you get a lot of interferences from these political affiliations or factors.
Flooding remains a major challenge in many areas within the country, and stakeholders have called on the government to find a lasting solution to it. For Channel One News, Fatih Amin Ibrahim, Abuabu Pelele, Ashanti Region.